Hello, my name is Horion Gracie. Since my brother Royce's impressive victories in reality fighting matches, everyone now recognizes the importance of ground fighting. As a result, Gracie Jiu Jitsu has become the #1 source of Jiu Jitsu instruction in the world. Gracie Jiu Jitsu Intermediate was designed to build on the foundation that was established in our first series, Gracie Jiu Jitsu Basics. If you have practiced and mastered the techniques presented in the basics, you will find that your effectiveness in self-defense will be greatly enhanced by this new intermediate series. Many times in a fight, you will find yourself in a cross-mount position. The techniques we'll show you in this tape will increase your confidence in how to handle this critical situation. In this tape, we'll show you how to handle the cross-mount position, from the top or from the bottom. We will start by reviewing some of the techniques that we saw in the basic series. Once you're laying across your opponent like this, hold the wrist with one hand, bring your hand under his arm, secure your wrist. Be sure to keep your elbow next to his ear, lift the elbow up, and then slide the hand downwards. One more time, please. Elbow next to the ear, hold his wrist with your hand. Be sure not to use the thumb. The hand goes under, secure your wrist, protect your face, lift the elbow up, and slide the hand down. Another technique that we saw in the previous series is when you see the person lifting their head up, you put your head on the ground, bring your hand under his neck, around the neck, turn your body sideways, step over, hold your own wrist, cinch up the neck, turn your body sideways, and then arch back. So we have this movement that you go into this arm lock. If the person, and I'm trying to go for the arm this way, if he straightens the arm, you can bring this hand under, hold your own wrist, and then force the arm backwards, hyperextending the joint of the elbow this way. Bring this in here, Royce. So from here, I'm trying to go for this. He straightens the arm, I hold it down, and with my wrist, raise his arm upwards, hyperextending the joint of the elbow. 1, 2, he straightens the arm. You just kind of let it fall into the groove here. Push down with the hand and raise this arm, lifting the joint of the elbow upwards. That's the move. Secure the arm, go under. As I'm struggling for this, he straightens the arm. Before I was able to lock my elbow next to his neck. As I do this, he straightens the arm, and then I push down with the hand and raise the joint of the elbow. Okay. From this position, he can also move the hand around and find himself in here, with the hand down this position. In this case, you hold the hand on the wrist, bring the second hand under the arm, hold your own wrist. Turn your body sideways, put the leg over his head, and pushing off this leg, bring his arm down that way. So from here, 1, secure your own wrist, turn your body sideways, leg over the head, brace yourself on this foot, and push his hand back. The idea, once again, trap the wrist, hold your own wrist, turn your body sideways, step over. As I lean up, my whole body pulls his arm up and the hand pushes it back. Turn to the other side, Royce. So from here, this is one move. Raise the elbow, slide down. As soon as I reach for his wrist, he straightens the arm. I go for this move, hold the hand down. And then as he turns the hand to go downwards, I want to hold his wrist in place and then lift this arm underneath his elbow to force and hyperextend the joint of the arm backwards, right here. Hold the wrist and then straighten the arm upwards. If he brings the hand down, you can secure the wrist with this hand. Second hand comes under, hold your own wrist. Turn your body sideways, step over the head, brace yourself with this foot, lean back, and bring his hand back. Hold the wrist, bring the hand under, turn your body sideways, step over the head, and then lean back, bringing his hand backwards. Another situation that might arise at this point is when the person has their hand on your collar with the thumb inside like this. You could bring your hand under his arm. With the help of this hand, feed your collar to this hand and grab way up, the higher the better, to secure this arm next to you. From here, use this hand on this side of his body to prevent him from following you as you walk around to his upper body this way. So you walk around, put your leg this way here, hold his wrist, hold your own wrist, shift the leg, and bring the hand backwards. One more time. So from here, grab the collar, securing his arm. The hand goes to this side of his body to prevent him from walking around with you when you walk to his head. You can use your hands to pin his head, turn him sideways, and hold his wrist. I'm holding my hands this way. Got my wrist with one hand and his wrist with my other hand, just like this. From here, pull his arm forward, gluing his elbow to your chest, and then torque back that way. One more time, Royce. Find your collar. With the help of the first hand, open the collar, grab your own collar way up. Put your hand next to his body here so he doesn't follow you. Walk around, roll him sideways, and if you want to go further back, to lean your weight behind his back. This way, leaning forward is good. Hold the wrist, grab your own wrist. Leg over his head, put your leg up or put your knee on the ground. Either one. Turn Royce a little more, please. Right here. From here, once you have the arm secured like this, bring his hand out, gluing it to your chest, and then turn over backwards. Let's do this one more time from here, right here. Then across the side, grab the collar, bring the hand back, walk around. My hand is here to block him. Turn him over, secure the wrist, put your leg over the head, standing up, or on your knees, either one. Glue his arm to your chest, bring the arm outwards here, and then bring the hand back the other way. One more time on the other side, please. So from this position, this hand, feed the collar to the other hand, securing this arm. Bring your hand back to block his hip from following you. Walk all the way around. Roll your opponent sideways. Put your leg up if you want. Hold his wrist with one hand. Hold your wrist with the other hand. Bring his arm out and then turn him back this way. You can keep this leg up, or you can put the leg down, pinning his head, whichever one you want. They're both right. We'll look at this from another angle. Grab the collar, put your hand on this side to prevent him from following you. Walk around, turn him sideways. There's his arm. Secure the wrist with one hand. Hold your own wrist. As I said, you can keep your knees down, or you can put your leg up. Glue his elbow to your chest. Bring his hand forward, and the torque is on the whole body turning back. From here, bring it up. 1, 2, bring it back. Sometimes when you find yourself in this position and you grab the collar, securing the collar here, put your hand on this side, walk around, trap his arm, roll him over, and you get his arm here, holding the wrist, get your own wrist, and you get ready to do this move. Let's get aside, please. Grab your collar, hand on the ground, walk around, turn him over, and you get ready to do the move, just like you did right now. Either the guy's very strong or he holds on to his belt and you can't pull his hand out. So now he's got a good grip to this and I just can't yank his hand out. What you want to do here is let go of your wrist and grab your collar again. By reaching for your collar again, your elbow, the elbow rests right on his ribs. So from this position, let go of your wrist, grab your collar again. Put your leg up. The elbow, the tip of the elbow is right here sitting on his ribs. So 1, grab your collar. 2, put your elbow on his ribs, raise your knee, sit back, and fall into the arm lock from this position here. To raise your hip and hyperextend the arm. Grab the collar, trap the arm, bring the hand on this side, walk around, put your leg up, hold the wrist. He's got a hold of his belt. If I can't get his hand out of here, I'll grab my own collar one more time, which brings my elbow right here to his ribs. Put my knee on his ribs, sit back, control the arm, and then raise the hip to hyperextend the elbow. Let's do this from the side here. Knee across the side, bring my hand under, find the collar. Put this hand on this side of the body, walk around. Turn him over sideways. Turn his head a little more this way. From this position, he got a hold of his belt. Right, once he's got his belt here, I hold my wrist, I hold his wrist, my hand stays on the collar like this, my elbow right here on this rib, put my knee up, sit back, and go for the arm lock, raising my hip and hyperextending the elbow. One last time to the side, please. So from here, he's got the arm raised, the hand goes under, grab the collar. This hand goes to this side of the body, walk around, turn him over, leg up, he grabs the belt. I can't pull his hand out. Go back to your collar, the hand stays on his wrist. Rest your elbow on his ribs and put your knee on his ribs. Go back, straighten the arm, hold the wrist, and raise your hip. Okay. Usually you get to the cross-mounted position when you come from here, and you pass the guard. You succeed on that and you lay across the side. That's how you get to the cross-mounted position. Sometimes you're trying to mount and the person defends very well, making it difficult for you to accomplish the mounted position, which is your objective in a fight. So if you can't mount because he's defending well, this is a thought that might help sometimes. It's the hand grabs with the thumb inside of the collar like this. The other hand you grab his belt, just like that, holding the belt just like this. From here, you put your weight on the ground here next to his neck and on his tummy. Push off him and go into this position right here. Resting your knee on his stomach and this hand squeezing across on his neck. The idea of this hand is to make him think about protecting his neck here. That's the plan, is to put the blade of the arm across the neck. And the weight should be on his stomach enough that if you stand on your feet, he'll slide away very easily. You just put your weight on your feet. So what you want to do, It's kind of right, the guy, keep the weight on top of him, so if he moves, he carries you with him. In the meantime, this hand here will be across the neck, bugging his neck. So that as he tries to block or defend that hand, you can then slide your knee over and find yourself in the mounted position. Once again, hold split. So you lean across the side like this. The hand grabs to the collar, like this. The other hand grabs the belt. Push off him and find yourself with the weight on top of him right here. Squeeze his neck with this hand to lead him to block this with the arms, to distract him with this. As he defends this, you mount. Other side, please. So from this position, hand on the collar with the thumb inside, making sure that you grab not like this, but like this. The grip should be the thumb over the four fingers. Like this. The second hand, reach for the belt, push the weight off him, and stand up. The plan is to leave the weight on top of the stomach and use this hand as a belt as a support. Bring the blade across the neck to squeeze his neck. As he defends, the arm squeezing his neck, slide your knee over and mount. Let's just make sure that we get this hand like this. And this other hand should be grabbing the belt like this, as if you're riding a bronco here. Grab onto the belt and rest your knee against. You can actually pull the belt and push the knee in. Distract him with this hand on the neck, so that as soon as he feels the pressure and he addresses this issue, slide your leg over and mount. Ultimately, the plan is to get to the mounted position. Sometimes when you find yourself in this position here, across the side, and I do this, grab the collar, second hand on his belt, and I jump off him and I get to this, he starts to turn a lot this way here, scooting the hip away, creating the distance by sliding away from me all the time. One thing we can do is bring the hand this way, grabbing the thumb inside the collar this way. The hand now is this way. By grabbing with the position this way, when he turns towards me, if I raise my arm, he puts the pressure on his own neck, making it more difficult for the person to turn towards me. So that's the move here, so he cannot turn inwards. Go back for a second, please. So from here, if I find him sliding the hip a lot at this point, trying to get away from me, the hand goes to the neck this way, the other hand on the belt, pop up, so that I can put the squeeze here and distract him with that blade of the arm, preventing him from turning inward. Both of these moves have an interesting completion to them. When you grab the hand this way with the thumb inside and the blade of the arm over the neck, and the other hand on the belt here, and then you push off him and put your weight on his stomach. If the person at this point puts the hand here or tries to push you off, leaving his neck vulnerable, this hand could go under, reach in for the collar, and then choke the guy from this position. Even though you're not mounted, he's vulnerable to get choked out from this position. Let me do this on the other side. So if I'm here, I grab the collar, second hand on the belt, push off him, put the knee on the stomach, and he's trying to fight off and he's kind of ignoring this hand of mine. I'll bring my second arm always under, reach in real deep, close your hand like this, and then put the weight on his neck and choke him right here. If I have this kind of grab, with the hand coming underneath like this, the other hand grabs his belt, push off him, put the weight on the stomach, and here I am again. And once again, he's not concerned about this hand on the neck. This hand goes on the same side of the first hand, follows the first hand. All I gotta do here is bring the arm around, and there's I got a choke on his neck again.
So from here, if I have this move, grab the hand way in. This hand grabs the belt, push off the ground and off his body so that I can land my weight on top of him. If he's not blocking that arm, I'll bring this hand under, grab with the other hand underneath the first arm, coming around, putting the arm around in the noose, and then squeeze. So quick detail on this hand here. Let me turn your head this way a little bit. So the first hand goes in this way, grab way in. The second hand goes under the same way. I grab both collars on the same side of his neck. 1, 2. Bring the hand around the neck. And as I turn around, it's pretty very tight around the neck over there. Okay? So from here, the first hand is on the back of the neck. The second hand goes under, grabbing on the same side. Of course, that the more distance you keep between the hands, the weaker will be the choke. So what you want to do is bring your hand way back in, and then the second hand will fall as deep as possible, touching each other. This way, by the time you bring your hand around, the hands are already close enough together that will increase the pressure on the neck tremendously. You're able to squeeze his neck now. Other techniques that we can use when we are in a cross mount position and you put your knee on the person's stomach are the following. If he puts the hand on the knee to try to push your knee away with his hand, you can secure the wrist, bring this hand under here, under his arm, step over the head, and then complete with this arm lock. So I'm laying across the side, grab the collar, get up in base. He puts the hand to push my knee away, secure the wrist, step over his head, find your hand through here between inside of his arm, hold your own wrist, shift the legs, and then bring it back. So from here, get up. Hold the wrist, bring the hand through here. Leg over his head, and then shift the arm back. Let's the other side. Here. Grab the collar, hand on the belt, get up in base. As soon as he puts the hand on the knee here, hold the wrist, bring this hand inside of the arm, drop the leg, glue his elbow to your chest, and torque the arm backwards. If when you go up, put your knee on the stomach, he pushes the hand on the knee, hold the wrist, you bring the hand around. If he grabs his belt at this point, with this hand, you can always go back to your collar, put your elbow on the ribs, sit back, and then find yourself with the arm straight or hyperextended joint of the arm. So from this position, grab the belt, hand on the collar, up top, put your knee on the stomach. If from here, he puts the hand on the knee, I go for the arm lock. Hold the wrist, step over the head, hold my own arm with this. If he goes back and grabs his belt here, and then I can't pull the hand away, my hand goes back to the collar, putting my elbow right on his rib, knee on his rib cage, sit back, and I now have the arm exposed for the arm lock again. If I'm in this position, grab the belt, the collar, put the knee on the stomach, and he does this move here, then hold the wrist, step over. This is what I'd like to do, bring the hand straight back. If he grabs the belt, my hand goes back to the collar, elbow on the ribs, put your knee on the ribs, sit back, and do this. Try to keep the legs snug here so that your legs are not too much spread out. Kind of keep it adjusting his arm with your legs. Glue it to your chest and then raise your hip up. if when you put your knee on his stomach, get to this position, he decides to just push you back up like this, control his arm, leg over the head, and sit back. And you have his arm right here for the arm lock. Want this way, hoist, please. So from this position, I decide to go up, put the knee on the stomach. He's pushing me back. Control the arm. Put the leg over the head. Sit back. Adjust the knees. Control his wrist. And then raise your hip to hyperextend the elbow. The other side, please. So from here, grab the collar. Hand on the belt. Push off him and get up. He's pushing me away with this hand. Secure the arm, leg over the head, and sit back. And then raise your hip up for the arm lock. 1, 2, 3. From here, for example, if he keeps the arm down, we have the option of the choke, right? We talked about this. If he puts the hand here, we can go for the arm lock. If he pushes me back up, secure the arm, leg over the head, sit back. Keep your knees together, and then raise your hip up this way. When I go up to my knees again, if he puts this hand, if he raises this hand to push me away with this hand, I can also let go of the belt, bring this hand around, trapping his arm, grabbing my own collar, way up, thumb inside, and this hand on this elbow to prevent him from rotating the arm. The idea is to bring it outward so that he can't just rotate the arm. If I put like this, he could just bend the arm and peel out. But if you hold the elbow and roll this arm out, his hand is on the collar, pull his arm out, and then you can bring it inwards, bring his arm towards you by pushing it inwards with the blade of the arm. From here, secure the arm, bring the other hand in, force the arm inwards, bringing it this way. So from here, grab the collar, hand on the belt, jump up. Hand is up, grab the collar, control the elbow, and then curve inwards, forward. Grab the belt, other hand on the collar. Hop up, he's got the hand straight, arm straight this way. Control the arm, bring the second hand in, and bend forward. Hand on the collar, grab the belt, push off him, stand up. Arm is sticking up, trap the arm with this, second hand comes in, bend the arm inwards. Let us see one more move so that when you have your knee on his stomach, you can give him a hard time one more time. From this position here, once again, I grab the belt, reach for the collar, push off him, put my knee here. When he puts the hand on the knee like this, you can also bring your hand on the inside, bringing his elbow up, stepping over the leg, pressing the knee on his stomach, and going right for the arm lock. Once again. So from here, hold the belt with one hand, the other hand with the thumb inside the collar. Push off him, find yourself in base here. As he brings the hand, you can either go for that arm lock this way that we talked about, or you can bring your hand on the inside, raising his arm. From here, step over the leg, spin around, and you got the arm right here for the arm lock. So from this position, grab the collar with the thumb inside, second hand on the belt. Hop up, put your knee on the stomach. Bring the hand inside, raise his arm, step over the head, spin around, and when you sit back, you have the arm right here. Keep your legs together, snug. So from here, grab the collar, hand on the belt. Hop up, knee on the stomach. He pushes the hand on the knee, bring your hand on the inside, raise his arm, step over the leg, over the head, and as you sit back, you have the arm right here. One last time here. From this position then, grab the belt, hand on the collar. Hop up, bring your hand inside of the arm, step over, spin back, and you keep your knees together, hold the wrist, and raise your hip. Okay, so these are some of the techniques that you have when you are on top, you know, some suggestions that you can do on the attack when you're on top of the person. If you find yourself on the bottom with your opponent on top of you, what? If you find yourself with your opponent on top of you like this, and you're now on the bottom, on the cross-mount position, on the bottom end of it, the first thing you want to do is get the person from this almost mounted position into your guard, which is the safest position to be if you have to be on the bottom. So he's across the side. I want to bring my hand under the arm like this, and the second hand wedging my elbow on this hip right here. From this position, you want to scoot your hip away, bring your knee underneath him, and put him on your guard. Let me do this by myself one time. So if I'm here, and you have the opponent laying across, put your arm under his arm, this elbow, the arm braces his hip. Once again, flatten your leg, put your foot in the ground so that you can scoot your hip away. Be sure you raise your hip off the ground a little bit so that you can scoot your hip away. Hold him away with your arm, with the frame of the arm, and bring this knee through, bringing him back inside of the legs. So from this position here, he's laying across, his legs are on this side. I'm going to wedge this hip with my arm, bring this hand under his arm, scoot my hip away, bring the knee through, and then cross your legs behind his back. When you start bringing your knee underneath the person's body, more often than not, this leg is going to get stuck inside of his legs. If you keep trying to bring the leg out, you're going to get stuck. So the trick at this point, as soon as you bring your knee as far as much as you can, put this foot on the ground and use this foot to scoot your hip away. So it kind of feels like this. You wedge your opponent with the elbow, scoot your hip away, bring your knee through as much as you can. You can only go so much with that knee. Now plant your foot on the ground, and using this foot, scoot your hip back away so that you can put him in your guard like this. Twice, one more time, please, on this side. So from here, bring your hand under his arm. The other hand is wedging the elbow. Scoot your hip away, bring your knee through here. See, I can only go this much. You're going to find yourself stuck with this. If you want to help with this leg, to hold his leg back, to give a little more movement, is fine. But ultimately, this foot here on this side has to rest on the ground so that I can plant my foot and then move my body away to end up with him inside of my legs in the guard. Another situation that might occur is when you're having a person across the side. He then turns his body sideways, puts the top leg back to prevent himself from falling back. If I lift my hip up, he braces himself with this leg, and then he swings the foot over to this side. The plan is to go up from here and goes to the mounted position. That's his objective across the side. Please hoist. What happens is, this is the leg protecting him from falling back. At the moment that this leg comes over here and steps on this side, his body weight is still on this side. So if If I lift my hip up and roll him back, I will be able to throw him backwards because his weight will be off balance, easily to be taken backwards. That's the position. He's sideways with the top leg holding him back. The trick here is your sensitivity to feel his body weight remains on this side, even though his leg swings over to this side. So just the leg moves over, the same leg that was bracing him from falling back. So as soon as this leg travels over and touches the ground, there's nothing protecting him from falling back. That's the moment that you lift your hip up. Once again, hoist, please. If when the leg raises from the ground and is halfway up, and you lift your hip up, now he has time to back up with that leg and brace himself. Timing is of the essence, because when you bring your leg over here, hoist, when he touches the ground, that's the time to lift your hip up. If you do it too soon, he has time to step back with that leg. So the trick is waiting for the leg to touch the other side, and then you lift your hip up and roll him back. Let's do this from the other side, hoist, please. So here, I can actually see, his leg right here, hand around the waist, both feet on the ground, and as he steps over, time to lift your hip up and roll him back. One last time on this side, please. Again, if you do it too soon, raise your leg, hoist. He has time to go back and brace himself with that leg. The trick is to bring this leg over there, and only when he touches the ground, you have to raise your hip and roll him back. Back up, hoist, please. If you wait too long, step over, hoist, he mounts. And now the lifting of the hip is not going to work. If he raises the hip off the ground, it doesn't work. So the timing here, leg up, hoist, is to lift your hip and roll him back. Okay. 1 second, let me do it by myself, please. So from this position, the hand is under his arm, the other hand is holding his waist, both feet on the ground. As soon as I feel his foot lift on the ground, if I do now, he's got time to back up the foot. If I wait for his foot to touch the ground here, he doesn't have time to come back with the leg before I can roll him back. So only when the foot goes over and touches the ground, that's when you raise your hip and roll him over. So from here, the other situation is, instead of having the top leg back this way, instead of having the leg this way, your opponent now shifts the position of the legs. He keeps the bottom leg straight and the top leg kind of tucked in next to me. By having the top leg tucked in here, I can't lift my hip and roll him back anymore, because this leg is now bracing him. With this leg now bracing him, it makes it impossible for the person on top to just swing the top leg over. He can't keep one leg straight and step over with the other leg. He now is forced to slide the knee gradually over my stomach. It's a different way of accomplishing the same position, to get into the mounted position. And because he's shifting his balance to be able to slide the knee gradually over my stomach, and I can't just roll him back, I'm going to use an option, which is to use my elbow to lift his leg up. As soon as he puts the weight over to this side, the back side gets very light. See how light his leg feels getting off the ground here. By lifting the leg up, I can now bring my leg under his leg, catch the leg, put my hand here on the shoulder, scoot your hip away, bring your knee out, and then cross your legs behind his back. One more time, please, boys. So the trick is to use this elbow close to his knee, right here under his knee. In this case, I recommend that you keep one leg flat, because if you keep both legs up, you're going to take more time to bring the leg down underneath him. As soon as you see this leg straight, this leg should be flat, because you know he's going to have to slide the knee over the stomach, and this facilitates or saves time. As he brings the knee over, hoist, please, over my stomach, my leg is already coming underneath him. As soon as he throws the weight over, it's easier. Put your legs closer to the objective, which is to go under his leg. Trap his foot, scoot your hip away. Once again, by lifting my hip off the ground, it makes it a lot easier for me to bring my knee through, my hip away. I then bring the knee through on this side and cross the legs. So from this position, once again, please, same thing. He's sliding the knee, I keep my leg flat. As I do this, he keeps bringing the weight over. I lift his leg up, bring my knee under, catch the leg. If I don't trap his leg, it's easy for him to just go over and mount the leg over here. He can do this and establish the mounted position. So it's important when you get your leg out, you secure the position by controlling his leg. The hands now will work on bracing his knee so that you can scoot your hip away and bring your knee out. Sometimes you might find this leg trapped in here, making it difficult to get your leg out. I recommend that you put your weight on this leg, transfer your weight to this foot, so that you can swivel your hip this way, making it easier for you to get your leg out, and then cross your legs behind his back. The other side, please. So that's the move. From here, my elbow, because the leg is straight, my elbow is tucked in here, right underneath his leg. Leg flat on this side. As he slides the knee over, I feel his weight shifting over. Lift the back leg, catch the knee. Scoot my hip away. Don't just try to bring this leg over, because more often than not, your foot's gonna get stuck. Put your foot on the ground here, swivel your hip back this way, and then cross your legs behind his back. And the other one's right here. Okay? Top legs, the bottom leg is straight, the top knee goes on my stomach, hand is under his arm. Once again, the trick is if I try to dig in the leg and lift him up now, it feels too heavy, I'm gonna get stuck. The moment is when his weight shifts over. That's when the leg feels light on this side. That's the trick, that's what makes it easier for you. Lift the leg up, catch the knee, plant your foot on the ground, and then scoot your hip away as much as you need to. Bring the leg in. If your foot gets stuck under his leg, plant your foot on the ground here, transfer the weight to this leg, and then swivel your hip back so that you can now cross your legs behind his back, which is your objective if you're on the bottom. All right. If when you do the same movement, he's got the leg straight, sliding the knee over the stomach. You do the same movement here. If your opponent leaves the weight on this side, as you scoot your hip away, you might consider the option of, instead of putting him in your guard, to do this move here. If his weight is in this position, consider reaching out with his hand to grab his wrist. Slide your hip further out, and with the top leg, reach over and catch his leg, so that you can find yourself behind his back and you can go for the choke or whatever you want to do at that point. Look at this on the other side, please. Actually, they should be the other way. That's what I'm at right here. All right. Once again, so the hand is under here, the leg is flat. He's going for the mounted position. I lift his leg up, bring my leg under, trap the leg. As we talked about, you could put him on your guard. But if his weight is down here, there's no reason why not take an offensive stance here, which is reach over for his arm, grabbing his wrist with this hand, scoot your hip away, clearing yourself a little more space. Rest your shoulder on the ground and climb up. Now, you're on his back, so that you can get him on the choke or attack him from behind. This side, west, please. The other side. Under, leg flat. Elbow on the ground. He goes over, I raise the leg, catch the leg under. I feel his weight is on this side. I scoot my hip away, reach over, get a hold of his wrist on this side. Reach the leg over his back. I put my knees on his back here. Let's stand on this side, please. So from here, raise the leg. Sometimes, back up for a sec, Royce. Sometimes when you're doing this move, you might want to just bounce your hip one little bit. Go ahead, Royce. Because by bouncing your hip, it gives you just enough of a little, just enough to get the leg out. Just kind of throws him up, and then you bring your leg under. So you bounce your hip just to throw his weight up, catch the leg. Trap the leg here. Secure the arm. Work your way around. Be sure that you don't try to get this arm out first. A lot more work. Keep your shoulder on the ground. Use your shoulder or your head on the ground if you need. Secure the wrist. Scoot your hip away. Leave your shoulder on the ground and just climb up with the foot. From here, by bringing the leg over, I'm already on my knees. All I have to do is raise my hip. And that puts me in a very solid, strong position behind his back. Okay. All right. If when the person is about to mount, you bounce your hip up, catch his leg, scoot your hip away, get a hold of his arm, everything is happening the way I want. But now, I can feel his weight is pushing me that way. I can't go over his back. He's got too much weight pushing that way. He's resisting that. Secure the wrist, bring this hand under his leg, scoot your hip, swing the leg for momentum, and then throw him over. And you'll find yourself in the mounted position. Once again, hoist please. The other side. So I'm here. He's about to mount. I lift, bring the leg under, catch the leg. I'm planning on going to his back. But he's leaning the weight backwards here. I catch the wrist. If I can't get a hold of the wrist because the hand is too far, it's okay, just hold around his waist here, his body. As soon as I feel his weight going this way, take advantage of it and just roll him all the way around. Follow up so that you can end up on top of him in this position. Scoot my hip away, go to his back, and if he resists, take him over and mount. Side, please. My idea again is to go to his back, but he resists. Embrace the guy and roll him over. Follow up, but you can stay on top of him all the way around. One last time, hoist on this side. One second. So you may ask, which one do I want to do? Well, I don't know. You have to feel when you do the technique which one flows easier for you at that time. So as we do this one right now, the next one, I don't know where I'm going to end. I'm going to try to feel his body weight because that's going to dictate to me which way I should carry his weight. Actually, he's going to tell me what's going to happen. I kind of play off his reactions, if you know what I'm talking about. Once again, hoist. So he's across the side. I want to go to his back if I can. So if I have the choice, I want to do this and go here. The plan is always go on top if you can choose, huh? Okay, we have one more situation that I'd like to show you this time. When a person is across the side and he's got both of his knees on the ground and just maintaining this position, to scoot your hip away and put him on your guard is one option, as we saw a few minutes ago. However, you can also, if you want, from this position here, kind of scoot your hip away from him. It depends on how much space you can acquire between you and him. Leave your shoulder on the ground, bring your leg under and out. From here, get a hold of his leg, pull him under, take him down, and establish a position on top. Sideways, please. So here what you do is that you're going to your knees. From this position, if he gets this much, you can scoot your hip away from a little more space. Keep your shoulder on the ground. Bring the bottom leg under. Find his leg, up, down, and then immediately follow up by going on top of him. To the side, please. Away. Bring this leg under. Catch the leg, lift him up, and then follow up, establishing a position on top of him. Let's see on the other side. So here, scoot your hip away, bring the leg up and under, get a hold of his leg, pull him under, and follow up by establishing a position on top. Let's do this move one more time. So from here, scoot your hip away, bring your elbows in, go to your knees, get a hold of the leg, pull him under, and get up. Be sure that when you go to your knees, from this position, your hand is under his arm, the other hand is on the hip. Tuck your elbows in, bring your knee up, walk around facing him as much as you need to, whatever feels comfortable for you. Get a hold of his leg, lift him up, and then push him back. Hoist one last time on the other side, please. So the hands are here. Scoot your hip away. If you need to bring both hands down, do it. Go to your knee. Walk around it, whatever it takes to adjust the movement to your convenience. Get a hold of his leg, bring him down, and then go on top of him. We now are going to run through a quick review of the techniques that we saw on this tape. We have seen this right here. If from this position the guy straightens the arm, we fall into this, straighten the arm. If he moves the hand all the way down, hold the arm like this, hold my own wrist, turn the body sideways, leg over the head, tighten back. He grabs the collar. This hand goes under, gets a hold of my collar, go around, walk around to his head. Please turn this way here, please. Right here. Get a hold of the wrist, lift the arm up, glue it to your chest, and then torque back. The other side, please, right here. If I do this move, walk around, roll him to the side. He holds his belt. I get a hold of my collar, elbow on the ribs, put the knee, sit back, and complete with the arm lock. You should keep your knees together. We can also, from this position, get a hold of the collar, get a hold of the belt, push off of him, planting the knee on the stomach, bug his neck so that as he blocks the neck, we go into the mounted position. Get a hold of the collar, grab the belt, push off of here. As my hand has the thumb inside the collar, I can bring the second hand underneath, reaching for the other collar all the way in, and then squeeze with two hands. That's one option. The other option from here is to grab the collar, grab the belt, hop up, rest the weight on top of him. Instead of doing this choke, we now grab the hand under his neck, other hand on the belt. Hop up, the second hand follows this one here, bring the hand around the neck, and then complete with the choke this way. If from here, when I jump up, he puts the arm on my chest, pushing me back, I can secure the arm, step the leg over the head, fall back, and then hyperextend the arm. Grab the collar, stand up. He puts this hand here, trap the arm, secure the elbow, and then bend forward to hyperextend the arm. Grab the collar. If he puts the knee on the hand on my knee, I can hold the wrist, bring this hand under, glue the elbow to my chest, and torque back. Or from here, you can bring the hand inside, raise the hand, step behind his back, fall back, keeping the knees together, squeeze the arm tight, and raise your hip. Squeeze your hip away, bring your knee under, shift the weight to this leg, put him on your guard. If he's sideways, and he's going to step over with this leg, raise your hip, rolling back. That's one option. If the bottom leg is straight and he's sliding the knee over, use your elbow, raise the leg, trap his foot, scoot your hip away, put him on your guard, and cross your legs. Or bring your elbow under, catch his leg, scoot your hip away, find his wrist, climb on his back, and end up mounted behind his back. Same thing, as he resists, rolling back, and end up on the mounted position. From here, he's on his knees, hands under in this position, scoot your hip away, tuck your elbows in if you need, go to your knee, get a hold of the leg, bring him under, and end up in a cross-mounted position. Well, this concludes tape number 3. Good work. I hope you have fun. We definitely have enjoyed very much the opportunity of sharing these techniques with you. And once again, we recommend that you take the time to walk through these techniques slowly, repeatedly, and watch for the simple details, because that's what's going to separate the proper and easier technique than a technique that requires a lot more strength. I'll see you next time. Keep up the good training. All right, boys.